This story is titled Living with My Ex, the breakup that didn't move out. When people talk about breakups, they usually end the story with a suitcase, a slammed door, and silence. The kind of clean calls that splits a relationship into before and after. A line so bold that it dares you to cross back. That wasn't how mine ended. Instead, the night we broke up, I cried on the couch we bought together, while my now ex-boyfriend, Tade, silently made tea in the kitchen like it was just another Tuesday night. We had been together for 5 years, met in university, Unilab actually, during a group project. He had the kind of smile that made you forget your thoughts mid-sentence, and I had the kind of personality that could talk him into skipping classes just to sit inside the house and imagine our futures. We thought we had it figured out, thought we were growing together, but somewhere along the way, life stopped sinking. We started arguing about little things: toothpaste tubes, who left the lights on, why he forgot to call, while I was always nagging. Then the arguments got bigger, about his career, about my job, about the fact that we were nearing 30 with no plans of engagement, no direction. We both knew we were unraveling, we just didn't know how to say it out loud until we finally did. That night, we said it all. We screamed, cried, and then sat quietly for what felt like hours. When it was done, when there were no more words left, he looked at me and said, "So what now?" I remember laughing, not because it was funny, but because neither of us had a clue. The lease on our two-bedroom flat in Lekki wasn't ending for another 9 months. We were both freelancers, him in design, me in digital marketing. So rent in Lagos was not a small thing to joke with. We didn't have parents in town to crash with, no sibling we could inconvenience, and neither of us had the money to move out on short notice. We looked at each other, two heartbroken adults in a flat full of memories and shared bills, and made the dumbest, most logical decision of our lives. We decided to stay. We weren't lovers anymore. We weren't even friends. Not really. We were cohabitants, exes with shared laundry detergent, flatmates with a history of sex, love, and shouting matches. There was no handbook for this. The first week was the most emotional, exhausting 7 days of my life. Every inch of the house reminded me of him, of us, the photos on the wall, the smell of his cologne in the bathroom, his old t-shirt I used to sleep in, now shoved to the back of my drawer. I cried a lot in the shower. It was the only place where the sound of running water could hide how broken I felt. Tade acted like a stranger who still remembered how I liked my eggs. He gave me space, but also kept checking in with his eyes, like he wanted to make sure I wasn't about to implode. We didn't talk much, just shuffled around each other. I slept in the second bedroom he kept to the master. We decided on a few rules, half jokingly but half serious. No bringing in new partners into the house. Divide chores. Respect each other's space. No drunk confession. No rehearsing the past. The rules didn't work. By the second week, we were arguing again. Not about love this time, but about cleaning the kitchen and who used the last of the milk. Somehow, it felt safer. Safer than asking, "Are you okay? Do you miss me? Did we make a mistake?" I would lie in bed and hear him playing FIFA in the living room, the sound of virtual football echoing through our too quiet home. I would imagine him dating someone else, kissing another girl, laughing in a way he hadn't laughed with me in months, and that would send me into a spiral of sadness I couldn't explain to anyone, not even my best friend, Dami. Because how do you tell someone you are heartbroken over an ex who is still brushing his teeth two doors down? People assumed we were still together, neighbors, colleagues, even our parents. We didn't correct them. It was easier that way. There was this weird in betweenness to it all. We weren't together, but we weren't not in each other's lives. He would still bring me shawarma if he passed by my favorite place. I still reminded him of his mother's birthday. We existed in this emotional purgatory where every day felt like a quiet mourning of something we had killed with our own hands, and yet we stayed. Not because we were hoping to get back together, but because the logistics of living felt more overwhelming than the pain of staying. I started journaling. Just small things. How many times I cried that week, how I hated the way he still looked good in sweatpants, how I resented him for moving on quicker than I was ready for, even though he hadn't actually moved on yet. I wrote until my hand cramped, until the pages soaked up more tears than ink. Then something strange happened. We started talking again, not about the breakup, but about normal things: politics, work, gossip, the new neighbor with the annoying dog. It was casual, light, but it was something. I remember one night about 2 months in, when there was a blackout. NEPA had disgraced us again, and the inverter was dead. We both sat on the floor in the living room, candles flickering, sweating buckets, eating cold jollof rice, laughing at a memory from school. And for a second, just a second, I forgot we were exes. We were just two people who used to love each other, sharing a small quiet moment in the dark. That was the first time I realized this arrangement, however messed up, was going to last longer than I thought. 3 years is a long time to live with someone who once held your heart. This is the story of how we survived it. The bedrooms, one past. By the third month, we had carved out territories like an invisible line ran through the apartment. My room was smaller, more box-like, with yellow curtains and a cracky fan that hummed like a tired mosquito. The master bedroom we once shared, complete with our old memories buried under fresh sheets and a usual mess of laundry. I tried to make the second bedroom feel like mine, bought a scented candle, vanilla and sandalwood, added a throw pillow, rearranged the furniture, but nothing could erase the fact that I used to fall asleep next to him in a room where I now only passed to borrow toothpaste or grab the vacuum. People often say that space helps healing. I don't disagree, but physical space doesn't fix emotional knots. Our rooms were separate, yet our lives still overlapped in ways I couldn't avoid. We shared the same fridge, the same Wi-Fi, the same bloody DSTV subscription. Every mundane detail of daily life was a thread that pulled at the fragile seams of our separation. One morning, I walked into the kitchen to find him shirtless, humming Burna Boy while flipping pancakes. It was so normal, so intimate, and it made me feel like I had been stabbed with a butter knife. I stood there for a bit, too long before he noticed me. "Want some?" he asked, holding up the spatula like it was peace offering. I wanted to scream, or cry, or hug him, or even run. Instead, I said, "I'm late for a meeting," and walked out. That's what it was like. Seeing the ghost of your love still alive, breathing, breathing, flipping pancakes. I started going out more. Coffee shops, co-working space, hang out with Dami. Anything to be outside the emotional aquarium we had built. But the moment I returned and heard his voice from the hallway, everything would tighten again. My throat, my chest, my breath. We started texting, even while in the same house. If I needed him to take out the trash, I would send a message. If he wanted to ask if I was using the washing machine that evening, I would hear a ding from my phone. It was ridiculous, yet safer than standing too close. There were days when we would joke and banter like old times, days we would act like civil strangers, and then there were days we would retreat to our corners like wounded animals, licking emotional wounds we didn't have names for. Tade started coming home late. I noticed the cologne changed, the energy too. I knew there was someone else, or at least someone he was trying to be ready for, but we never talked about it. Rule number 5: no rehearsing the past. Only problem was the past was still living here, paying rent. House rules, heart rules. The house rules meant to protect us slowly became walls we hide behind. Rule number 1: no bringing partners into the house. Simple, clear, and respectful. But it didn't cover emotional cheating. It didn't say anything about late night phone calls with someone you are just talking to. It didn't cover the sound of soft laughter coming from his room at 1 a.m. or the way my stomach twisted when I heard it. I caught myself becoming nosy, listening, watching, wondering, was she prettier? Was she younger? Did he love her the way he used to love me? One night, I walked into the hallway and saw him on a video call. He quickly ended it when he noticed me. We locked eyes. Neither of us said anything. That silence was louder than any fight we ever had. Rule number 2: divide choice. It worked for a while. We had a whiteboard on the fridge. Monday, me. Tuesday, him. It was a system, but emotions don't follow systems. One night, he forgot to clean the bathroom and I exploded. It's not about the damn toilet today, it's about basic respect. He looked stunned. I realized I wasn't yelling about cleaning. I was yelling because I missed how he used to bring me toothpaste when I forgot. I missed the intimacy that used to make chores feel like care. Rule number 3: respect each other's space. We respected each other too much, I think. So much that we became like museum piece, present, visible but untouchable. There were moments I wanted to knock on his door, ask how his day was, ask if he still thought of me at night, but I never did. Rule number 4: no drunk confessions. We broke this one. It was my birthday. I had told everyone not to bother, but Dami insisted we do something small. She brought wine, cake, laughter. After she left, I sat in the living room alone, scrolling through messages that didn't fill the void. Daddy came out of his room holding a half-full bottle of Jack Daniels. Happy birthday, he said. We drank, talked, laughed a little too loud, the way you do when you are trying to mask a heartbreak with honey. Then I said it. Do you ever regret it? He looked at me, drunk and broken and beautiful in that soft light. Every day, he said. But I also know we weren't working. We didn't kiss, didn't touch, we just sat there, two people full of pain and history, knowing that sometimes love isn't enough. Knowing that sometimes love isn't enough. Rule number 5: no rehashing the past. We broke that one too, over and over, in ways we never admitted out loud. The jealousy phase. There is a unique kind of jealousy that comes when you still live with someone you once loved. It's not like normal jealousy, where you are curious about your ex's life from afar. This one is close up, front row, in your face. It was in the smell of new perfume on his laundry, the way he smiled at his phone, the voice notes he had deleted before I walked in. It burned. I hated it. I told myself I was over him. I told myself I wanted him to be happy. But there is a difference between wanting someone to be happy and watching them be happy without you. And it wasn't one sided. I started dating again. First, awkwardly, then with more confidence. I met a guy named Jide, tall, soft spoken, with a passion for wildlife photography. We went on a few dates. He made me laugh, made me feel seen, but every time I came home, I felt guilty. Not because I wasn't cheating, but because Tade would be sitting there on the couch, pretending to scroll through his phone, pretending not to care. I remember once I left my phone on the dining table. A message popped up from Jide, still thinking about last night. When I came back, the screen was off, but I saw the shift in Tade's eyes, saw the way he avoided mine for 3 days straight. Jealousy has a smell. It's bitter and unspoken and awkward. We never confronted it. We just danced around like it wasn't choking both of us. The new partner's dilemma. Eventually, reality arrived. Tade officially started seeing someone. Her name was Lillian. She was smart, beautiful, and from what I gathered, annoyingly kind. I only knew about her from his muted conversations, the occasional Instagram tag, and the subtle changes in his behavior. He was happier, lighter, and I hated how much that made me feel like a failure. I hadn't told Jide the full story. He knew I lived with my ex, but not that we still shared Netflix password, or that I still cried sometimes when I smelled his cologne in the hallway. When Jide found out by accident through a mutual friend, he didn't take it well. You live with your ex like you live with him under the same roof. Yes. Are you still in love with him? I don't know. That was the beginning of the end for Jide and me. I didn't blame him. I was still tangled in a situation that didn't make sense. Lillian came over once, just once. I wasn't supposed to be home, but my plans fell through. I heard her laugh from the kitchen. It was soft and genuine, and it felt like a knife. I stayed in my room all night, headphones in, crying into my pillow while a stranger made herself comfortable in the home I built with him. Later that night, Tade knocked on my door. I'm sorry, he said, eyes heavy. It's your house too, I replied. You don't need to explain. But he did, because this situation demanded more than logic. It demanded emotional clarity none of us had. We were both trying to move on. But how do you start a new chapter when you're still living in the old one?